These are the rules I live by. The rule of law, this federalism that we believe in, making the country work, are the things that I want to bring to the leadership, first of all, of this party. I want to unite the party, and once we have been able to sit down and look at what we want to do for the country, we'll have a very short period of time, about 2 years, to prepare for general election. And I guarantee you, there's one thing I know and I have learned in politics: I know how to win.
Former Quebec Premier Jean Charest has launched his federal Conservative leadership campaign. Charest formally joined the race to become the Conservative leader during an event in Calgary last night, nearly 24 years after leaving federal politics. The 63-year-old was first elected as a Conservative MP in 1984 in former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney's progressive Conservative government. He then left to lead the provincial Liberal Party in Quebec, eventually serving as Premier from 2003 to 2012. And Conservative MP Pierre Poilievre was the first person to step forward to announce his bid to lead the party. The 42-year-old longtime Ottawa area MP declared his candidacy just days after former leader Erin O'Toole was ousted. He spoke to CP24 about the growing field of candidates.
I'll take whatever they throw at me. I love competition. I love free market competition in the economy, and I love democratic competition in politics. It'll give me a chance to talk about my plan to make Canada the freest place on earth, and my common sense plan to tackle inflation, which is making life nearly impossible for many Toronto area families.
Okay, so the race is heating up with a total of 4 contenders. Poilievre and Charest joined Leslyn Lewis, the Conservative MP for Haldimand-Norfolk. She's a former Bay Street lawyer and was the 3rd-place finisher in the 2020 leadership race. And Roman Baber, the independent MPP here in Ontario, who Premier Doug Ford booted from the PC caucus for speaking out against COVID-19 lockdowns, and that was in January of 2021. And expected to add his name to the roster this Sunday, Brampton Mayor and former Conservative MPP, and Ontario PC party leader Patrick Brown. A new leader will be chosen on September the 10th. So we are 6 months away until the big day. So let's take a look at the contenders and take a look ahead. We're joined live tonight by John Capobianco, Senior VP and Senior Partner at Fleshman Hillard High Road. John, thanks for joining us on this Friday night. A lot to look forward to. So with the exception of Charest's comeback, John, there are no real surprises here. 2 leaders, 2 elections in 5 years plus a pandemic. So Conservatives have had a chance to think about all this now. What do they need? Well, I should say, what do they want and what do the Conservatives need? Both.
Well, they want to win, and I think that's the biggest issue right now, Christina, is that, and that's why it's no surprise that Jean Charest came in and with his campaign tagline, "Built to Win," because I think he's tapping into the frustration that Conservatives have faced over the course of the last couple of elections, where, you know, a lot of them believe that they should have beaten Justin Trudeau. Certainly in the last election, they felt that they should have beaten Justin Trudeau. So the fact that they lost made them really upset, and that's why I think Erin O'Toole lost his seat as or his position as leader. So there is a huge outcry and desire for Conservatives to win. So the race has gotten a little bit more interesting now with Jean Charest in. I think that's going to cause a really big ideological debate amongst Conservatives. And also we're going to see Patrick Brown coming in on Sunday. And again, these are 2 very, very strong heavyweight contenders to Pierre Poilievre, who a lot of people thought might have been a coronation a couple of weeks ago.
So you talked about ideological debates. Charest says the party is badly divided. This is not a new issue. How does the next leader unify this party and rally the troops in a party which, of course, there's always been fiscal conservatives and social conservatives, but perhaps now more, divided in terms of when we saw the Ottawa Trucker Freedom Convoy, for example. How do you unite this division? How does the next leader do that?
Well, the Conservative Party has always been a big tent party, and as a result of that, there's always been various factions within the party. We've seen them over the course of the last little while. We see them in caucus. We're certainly in the grassroots Conservative movement as well. There's a lot of factions. So I think a lot of the Conservative members who are going to be watching this race and are going to be joining one leadership or another are going to ask questions of the leadership contenders as to what are they going to do to unify the party. I think it's going to be one of the key things that is going to have to happen, certainly with the interim leader, Candice Bergen. What we've seen since she's been been the interim leader, is a strong push to unite the caucus. And we've seen a fairly united caucus over the course of the last month or so since Candace has been the interim leader. I think that's going to sort of be continued on over the course of the next little while during leadership. So the contenders are going to have to really put on, I think, a strong show to say, what are they going to do to unite the party? Because the party is sectors are all important, and they're going to have to determine how they're going to be able to put them together.
In terms of an identity crisis, when I spoke to Maxime Bernier a few years ago when he became the leader of this new People's Party of Canada at the time, he said the Conservative Party is no longer conservative. That was his feeling, which is why he started his own party. On that note, and one columnist describes this quite well, Jen Gerson says, how does the next leader placate the most extreme elements in the caucus room? How does the next leader do that, or how important is that in terms of that faction of the party?
Well, and that's Maxime Bernier's opinion. He left the party for his own reasons and then started up his own party with the PPCs, and he's got his opinion. But, look, I think at the end of the day, the leader has to be able to sort of come up with some strong policies that are of conservative value, talking about, fiscal conservatism, talking about the economy, the recovery at post-pandemic, things that are important to conservatives, that whether you're a red conservative, a red Tory, or a blue conservative, issues that are financial or of economic nature are important to all conservatives. That's going to be the key. And I think that's why you saw Jean Charest yesterday in his announcement speak very, very strongly about himself being a fiscal conservative in his, experiences as being a premier of Quebec for some 10 years or 3 elections in a row. So that's going to be important. But also just getting back to the basics of individual rights and responsibilities and being able to say, look, enough of government intervention. It's up to you now to determine your fate of your life and your future. And that's going to be important messages that the Conservatives are going to want to hear from their respective leadership candidates.
Okay, 6 months to go, and there's still time for others to join the race. Deadline is about mid-April. Thank you so much on this Friday before the March break. John Capobianco, we appreciate it tonight.
Thanks, Christina.